What's going on, growers? This is Alex from Father's Love, Father's Heal, and I'm in my garden today. It's May 15th, and I want to give a quick garden tour of what's growing on. And my garden it's doing very well. I'm very happy with what's happening. So let me show you what I got growing. Let's get into it. Okay, so this is the entrance to my garden here. I have lots of peppers growing. Now this year, I'm really concentrating on growing lots and lots of different vegetables in a small area. And so here I have peppers. I'm gonna grow up each of these conduits, and these are all volunteer sunflowers that all just came back, so I don't have to worry about planting any sunflowers. Well, I did plant some, but a lot of them are just coming back. And in between the peppers, I planted some dill and carrots and onions and different flowers. I'm planting lots of flowers this year in the garden. So that's what I'm making sure I'm growing. Lots and lots of different varieties of food in a small area. So this section are my peppers. Here I have some cabbages and some broccolis, and in between that I have onions and some volunteer tomatoes, which I'll pull out because I have way too many tomatoes coming up. And over here, same thing, I have a kale right there, and up my fence line I'm growing different cucumbers all up this fence line. I want this whole thing covered with cucumbers. And over here, radishes I planted. I'm gonna pick some tonight for a salad. These are all radishes that came back. My apple tree, this is its third year, so I'm not getting, no flowers came yet for this one. This bag, this grow bag, is potatoes, and I have 5 grow bags and different bins for potatoes, because this year I want to grow potatoes in grow bags. And this is my rain catchment for my greenhouse, and then my vermicomposting bin over here. Now this is the problem I'm having with my potatoes. Last year I grew potatoes in this bed and these other beds, but I thought I got them all. Of course I didn't. So all these different potatoes are coming up. And in between the potatoes I have carrots and cauliflowers, kales, broccolis. And the problem I'm having this year is we had a late snow, probably end of April. We had a big snowstorm, and I already planted a lot of my brassicas, and I thought they weren't gonna make it, but they are gonna make it. They're just taking a lot longer. Here I have lettuces, I got some mustards over here, another grow bag, different brassicas, and I have some kale, carrots, different mustards, dill, different flowers. I have some sunflowers coming up. So lots and lots of food gonna grow in a small raised bed, because last year I just had broccoli in this bed and that's it. So this year I want to really concentrate on growing lots of different food in a small area. Now my peas, I'm giving up on peas because my problem I'm having is birds. So I keep having these peas grow, and this year I found out it was birds. My peas would get just a couple inches tall, and then there was nothing. And I'm like, what is going on? Because my soil is really good. And then I'm sitting out here in my garden, and then I see birds landing on this trellis here, and they would just pick the tops of the peas off. So last couple years, I've never had any peas, so I think I'm giving up on peas because it's just birds just keep eating them all. I planted these out today, all of my tomatoes, and that is Cosmos. So I'm growing Cosmos in for pollinators, and these are tomato varieties. And in between tomatoes, I have onions, and all these trellises here are all tomatoes. So these are all tomatoes. These are carrots, and in between my tomatoes, I planted some cucumbers. I'm just going to try growing some cucumbers up these trellises. And then I planted some beans at the base of each tomato. So we'll just see, you know, gives the tomato some nitrogen. And it's really hot today. So 2 days ago I transplanted butternut squash, and it's looking a little limp just because of the heat, but it'll perk right back up. So all these trellises here are tomatoes. I have 5 different trellises, all for tomatoes. This here is my mulberry tree, contorted mulberry, and I'm hoping this year, the first year, I might get some mulberries finally. And at the base, I'm planting some poppy, some dahlias. I have some cauliflowers. All this here is Egyptian creeping onion, and I'm gonna pick some tonight for a salad. These are all coming back strong. Strawberries at the base of the tree. Artichokes, I just planted those a couple days. Different flowers. I planted some watermelons, some cucumbers up this trellis here. This here is my chive coming back strong. And this area will be all of my corn. This is where I grow corn. Up these fence line, I'll be growing different types of cucumbers. And this area I like to do the 3 sisters method. So my corn will come up, then I'll plant beans at the base of the corn. I got some volunteer sunflowers, that's what those are. And then I planted watermelons and stuff like that. Lavender, different flowers. Now these here are all of my garlic. Now like last year, all I had was garlic, but this year I'm having garlic. I have potatoes coming up, lettuces. I have some broccoli, cabbage. Same thing with this bed. Lots of different types of food in one area. That's the game plan this year, growing lots of food. With the food prices, I really have to go big this year and have lots of varieties of food. My vermicomposting setup here. Strawberries. Now all these strawberries I'm going to show you in this garden all came from 6 little plants. That's how quickly strawberries spread. These are all strawberries here. Potatoes in these bins. My little pond doing well. These are all blackberries here. Another potato, another potato bin. Potato, potato, all potatoes. Now here's these are all my strawberries. Look at all these strawberries. So this year I'll be making some jams because I'm gonna have just gallons and gallons of strawberries. All these strawberries came from 6 plants. That's how quickly they spread. Comfrey, and so I'll be making a lot of comfrey tea for fertilizer for my plants. Currants here. Now it's cool, this bird bath, this is the first year I actually have one that doesn't fall apart. I sat here in the garden today and watched probably 3 dozen birds come in here, drink water, just do a little bird bath. So the life is really starting to come to this garden. Blueberry. I have 6 blueberry bushes. Another blueberry, strawberries, blueberry. Pear tree, this is only the 3rd year, so no flowers on the pear tree yet. Blueberries, this is my 4th year for blueberries, so these things are loaded. Look at all these blueberries. I'm excited this year. Now I'm gonna have to build some netting to keep the birds out because the birds will eat all my blueberries. Another blueberry, look at all these strawberries. Now these are some honeyberries. This one here, honeyberry, still got the sign up, I have to make a sign for it. That's the female, this is the male version right here. So the male version is growing real tall and finally the female ones are waking up. Plum tree here, Santa Rosa. Another plum tree I just planted this year. All these strawberries. These are blackberries here. Right up there's my blackberry. Little tomato I threw in right there. So I planted a lot of flowers today. So this year I want to have lots of flowers in the garden. Brassicas, it's a volunteer. Sunflowers, peppers. So I got to fill these beds in with some stuff. Probably tomatoes. I want to make lots of different tomato dishes and can them. some celery over here, mustards in that bed over there, strawberries right over here, all strawberries, and I planted lots of sunflowers over there in the back, so there'll be lots of sunflowers this year. This was the apple tree that I thought it was dead. So lots of fruit. This one I didn't get one apple last year. This year, it's loaded. Another pear tree. This is probably the 4th year, but before I fenced it off, it was just, deer would just keep eating everything. So this is really the first year I'm getting good growth out of the pear tree. So I won't see any pears for a couple years. Strawberries as my base cover. Comfrey. Now in this area, I'm doing comfrey all through here because I get weed pressure from over there. So my plan is to have comfrey all along here, and that'll keep the weeds out of this area, because the weeds come here, creep into my garden, and I'm just constantly weeding back there. So that's why I'm putting all this comfrey here, and then I can chop it and drop it, or chop it and make some tea for the plants. Now these grapes I planted, this is the first, I planted them last fall, so I have good growth on these already, and I'm going to grow these up my apple trees, and then that's going to be my trellis. Lovage for soups right there, and there's raspberries in here, so I'll be growing raspberries all through this area. Currants, these are my 3rd year currants, so I will be getting fruit from those. This one too, I planted three more this year, this spring. So I like currants in my drinks, so that's why I'm growing a lot of currants. Currant there, currant over there, and same thing. This grape, I'm growing this grape up this tree, apple tree. Now this cherry, this is a big cherry tree, and I bought this bare root, and I thought it was like one little baby root, so I can't believe it actually survived. I planted another cherry there a couple years ago. It died off, it didn't do anything. So I've never gotten cherries, so I have to plant another cherry tree in the fall. Hopefully that one will survive, because the soil here is just garbage, and I'm slowly building it up with leaf mold compost. So I'm hoping eventually I can have good enough soil with this tree to take root. And this is my grape trellis. So this full of grapes. Same thing with birds. I have bird pressure, so I'm going to be netting this off this year so I can actually enjoy it without birds eating them all. And this is a Viking aronia berry here. The flavor for these are not good, but they're very good for you, so I'm going to be making juices out of these. Or with this is an elderberry. I'm going to be making some elderberry concoctions out of these two, because they're full of vitamins, but the taste is very, very tart, and so they're not really good if you eat them raw. So I'll figure some stuff out this year. Blueberries. Now I planted lots of different types of flowers in this garden, and I'm going to be adding more stuff throughout the year. So this is my garden so far this year. I'm very happy with what's growing on. And this is just a small space. This whole area is maybe an eighth of an acre, really small space. So I can produce lots of stuff. Oh, there's my daughter. Come and check out the garden. She's always in the garden. Hey, Harley. So that's pretty much it. My little ponds, fish in the pond. Pond's doing good. I had an algae problem, and I had to treat that. And my local greenhouse doesn't have any plants yet. So they said at the end of the month I'll be able to put some plants in there that'll help filter out all the algae and just give it some nice color to the pond. Thanks for watching my little garden tour. My youngest, she loves the garden, and it's really important I show her growing food and show her how to grow her own food, because most kids really don't know where any of their food comes from. So it's really important for me to show her different foods, right? Yeah. So I hope you like my little garden tour, and I got a lot of cool projects I got coming up. So this year's, with the prices of the food and everything, this year is going to be really important to produce a lot of your own food, really high quality, nutrient dense food. Thanks for watching. I'll see you at the next one.